G'day guys, welcome to this episode of Pete vs. Plants. I am Pete and the plants will be on screen shortly. It is Halloween today guys, so if you are massive Halloween fans, I'm thinking of you Yankees. If you love Halloween, I hope you have an amazing holiday. It wasn't really that popular here in Australia when I grew up as a kid. There were always kids that did it and you were kind of like, you guys have been watching too much American TV because, yeah, the holiday had no significance here in Australian sort of cultural history. But the more time has gone by, the more we are seeing it on TV, in films, and the more and more I think businesses here in Australia are wanting to sell costumes and food and lollies. I was about to say candy, but they're lollies in Australia, and so yeah, it is becoming harder and harder to fight that battle. And now with children, I understand, they want to go out, they want to do the trick-or-treating thing. But yeah, anyway, I guess I just have to stop being such an old snarky dude now that I'm in my 30s. So today I wanted to do my October favorites. I just got in, hopefully, at the end of October here. And yeah, I've got 6 sort of groups of plants. Some of them are single plants, some of them are a bunch of plants that have been catching my eye every time I go over to my racks in my lounge room here. They're actually behind me. If I give you guys a look, you can see all these racks here. So every time I go past those, these are the ones that at the moment are catching my eye a lot, and I'm sort of like, wow, you're doing well. I'm proud of you. So should we start small? I reckon we start small. You will have seen in one of my recent videos that I took corms from an Alocasia stingray, chucked them in a prop box. When I put my Alocasia stingray to try and save it, I put it into semi-hydro, and those corms went off like frogs in socks, right? Went off like a frog in a sock and just haven't stopped, guys. Like, they just haven't stopped. These guys have just been, they've just been going off like a frog in a sock. They've been going crazy. The root systems are insane on them. I'm so impressed that they have just grown so fast. I have them in sphagnum moss here. I just make sure that there is always condensation, sort of at least halfway down the, the little cup here. Sorry about the light, but see the condensation there? Sometimes I touch the top, and if it's a bit dry, I'll just give it a spray. But yeah, making sure that it's sort of slightly damp, and they seem to just be absolutely loving life. I just saw a bit of webbing and I'm not sure if that is dust or spider mites. In fact, I have just discovered spider mites, you little bastards. I'm gonna have to get some beneficial mites, I think, and release the hounds into my collection. Yeah, that's a bit of a bummer, but I hear that Alocasias are spider mite magnets, so not really much of a surprise. Anyway, number 1 is these 5 or more Alocasia stingrays, because yeah, they are just voracious in their growth, so highly recommend. Okay, number 2, staying small. So I think I did a video a while back, and I'll see if I can find it and remember it and link it above, where I was talking about my Thai chonks. So I had propagated some Thai constellations, and I guess the short and the long of the story is that I went on a bit of a rampage buying up large Monstera Thai constellations when I first sort of got into plants earlier this year. And yeah, they were the ugly ones that had good variegation that people were really trying to sell at a low price online. So I grabbed 2 of those and I chopped them up and propagated them. I think I had about 12 propagations and I lost about half of them in the first 2 months from root rot. And yeah, it was pretty devastating. But anyway, I had these 2 leafless chunks and chucked them into prop boxes, and they ended up sprouting and pushing down roots. And I'm just really proud that these guys are going off. They're doing really well. You can see this one in particular has really nice variegation. They both should have pretty good variegation when they actually grow out, as both the mother plants had really good variegation, and with Thai constellations, the variegation is stable. So what you see is what you get pretty much from the first leaf that comes out, right? You might get the odd big chunk of white, even on the sort of low variegation Thai constellations, but generally the ones with like high marbling, they're gonna maintain that, and the ones with low variegation, they're very limited, sort of, I guess like a really cloudy night, but you can only just see a few stars instead of all the constellations. they pretty much stay like that as well, unfortunately. So yeah, number 2 has been these 2 Thai Constellation chonks, and I've put one here in Leca, and I wonder if I can see the root is just poking through here. I wonder if you can see it there. So it seems to be doing well there. It has mold on the top, but I'm not too worried about it. I've just increased the airflow to sort of try and keep that under wraps. And I would love to show you, but it's sort of hard. But yeah, there's a bunch of mold that's just been sort of growing around the top. But I'm not too worried as long as the plant isn't getting, you know, eaten and rotted, and it seems to be doing fine right now. This one is in moss. Again, I'm just sort of keeping on top of it, making sure that it's not getting too wet. And again, it seems to be doing really, really well. So it's going to be cool to follow these guys out and see how they go. I might sell them, I might just grow them out. We'll see what happens. But number 2, Thai Constellation chonks. All right, getting a little bigger. Number 3 is this guy who probably needs no introduction. This is a Monstera Oblique Peruvian form, and it's just been going off. You know, I keep saying it, guys. It's probably become my catchphrase, but this guy's been going off like a frog in a sock. He came to me as these 2. In fact, it might have been even fewer leaves. It may have been, I think it was these 2 leaves down here. These 2 bottom leaves are what it came as. Pretty quickly it pushed out a 3rd leaf, then a 4th leaf, and then a 5th leaf, and it's pushing out another one that you can probably see the tip of between these 2. And so I'm just really, really happy with how it's going. It seems to be growing so fast. They are just beautiful plants. Yeah, and I just love the weirdness of them. I absolutely love just the crinkly kind of fenestrated leaves that come out and just how weird they look. So number 3 here is this Monstera Oblique Peruvian form. Absolutely beautiful. Highly recommend. They're coming down in price significantly now. I think this one cost me about $180. So yeah, get on it. Okay, what's the next one? Number 4. We'll go this one. Number 4. My Philodendron Florida Ghost. Now, this is an absolutely stunning specimen. I have 3 of these in my collection currently. 2 of them, including this one and one that looks pretty much the same as this one, I got from the same seller. So I imagine that they're actually cuttings from the same original mother plant, because they have these incredibly red, sort of like lipstick red pink stems that come out as the plant pushes out new leaves. And the leaves come out so bright white. In fact, you know, the closer I hold it here, it's just getting bleached by the light. It's getting totally washed out, so it's sort of hard to see. I don't know if I can bring it further back and you can kind of get an idea of how creamy white it is. The thing I love about these 2 cuttings that I have that are grown into these plants, they hold on to this whiteness for ages. So this leaf here was actually the 2nd last leaf to come out. The most recent one is actually this one here. And you'll see at the very tip where they usually go green first, and it's probably hard to see because they're washing out again from the light, there's no green yet. So these guys, these 2 plants that I have from the same original mother, I imagine, hold on to that white ghost variegation for a long time. And I have another one. I'll give you a look. I was going to give you an example. Give you a look at this other one that I got from another seller. And it's a beautiful ghost. I really like this plant. It's got relatively red stems as well when the new leaves come out, but you'll see that this leaf has only just finished hardening off, and it's already, you know, probably about 50% green. It's already gone that minty colored green. And so it really quickly becomes, you know, green in color for all those leaves, whereas this one in comparison just goes white, really white, and holds onto it for a lot longer than the standard ghosts that I sort of see out there. So again, the light might not be allowing you to kind of see what I'm talking about, but hopefully you can kind of gauge just how bright white cream these leaves are. And you'll see here that all of these ones are green or minty green. This is the most recent one. It's already turning green. So yeah. And I think the reason that you'll see these stems are really bright is related to the level of variegation here too and how long it holds onto it. They get darker and darker to this sort of level the more that chlorophyll, I imagine, is growing in the stem and turning that bright pink sort of a darker brown. So yeah, number 4 is the Florida Ghost. Absolutely love this plant, and I really want to grow it out large and in charge and chuck it on a pole. That'd be amazing. Okay, we've got 2 left, guys. We've got 2 left. Number 5 is this monstrosity. I wonder if you could tell what it is. This is one of my Philodendron white princesses. And I only got this, I think probably about 2 months ago. And when I got it, the person that sold it to me had obviously taken a lot of cuttings from it, as you can probably tell. And I think I counted originally maybe 6 or 7 heads, so growth points that were coming out of the plant. It was just insane how many different points there were, and it just hasn't stopped. So I would imagine this thing is originally tissue culture. When I repotted it, I tried to sort of pull apart some of these stems in here. They look like there is about 3 or 4 plants in here at least, but I couldn't get them apart. So I'm not sure if they either stem from the original same plant, or the root systems have just so densely grown into one another that they're holding them together. They're holding the whole thing together. So I think I decided to just leave it as is, as this sort of really beautiful mother plant that I too will take cuttings from in the future. And yeah, it is just insane the number of growth points that you can probably see in there, right? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's just nuts. It's just ridiculous. 8. Yeah, there's at least 8, 9. My God, I think there's probably about 10. Yeah, there's 10. There's a 10th one there. There's just too many to count. So I think this is going to turn more into a shrub than it is a climbing philodendron, you know. I don't know how well it's going to climb because it's going to be spending all of its energy on just, you know. I'll have to put like a star-shaped Game of Thrones throne moss pole behind it to be able to handle all those different growth points. But yeah, I actually think I'll probably just take cuttings from it and yeah, use it as a mother plant. Anyway, so that is number 5, my Philodendron White Princess. And if you guys are following Claire on the Jungle Haven, you'll see hers on a moss pole, and it is just it's otherworldly. I was about to say next worldly. It's huge. And I would love to have one of those, just a single vine growing up a pole one day where you get to just see these huge leaves that have sized up and have that really nice variegation in dark green. And she has a beautiful pink princess as well that's the same deal. So yeah, hopefully that happens one day, but this is my current white princess. Okay, lastly guys, this plant is not variegated. It's not that uncommon anymore. It's probably, it's pretty rare in Australia, but I'm starting to see them all over the shop now for sale. So I think that a huge batch of TC plants have hit the market here, and so they're no longer sort of flying off the shelves at Bunnings. I think they just saturated the market, but I absolutely love this plant. This is my Philodendron Bilitis. So it probably needs no introduction. This is the most recent leaf, which has just stolen my heart. I am such a fan of the size of this leaf. When it was hardening off, it looked like it was going to be about this big. Which was the second most recent leaf? It's hard to tell because I sort of sunk it here. I think the second most recent one might have been this leaf. So I wasn't really expecting the next one to be that big, but she has definitely delivered the goods. And yeah, I just love these plants. I love these kind of like indentation, ribby ab kind of things that happen on these leaves, and the way that the leaves often, as they come out, they kind of curl to one side slightly. So you'll kind of get like one chunky side past the midrib and one sort of thin side. Here, I don't know, it just does it for me, guys. It really does it for me. And yeah, she's just really vigorous. The funny thing is, I've had to add soil up the top here because, and I'm not sure if you can see, these guys seem to do a weird thing where their aerial roots often grow upwards. And I've seen this on a few people that have been growing them on moss poles. I think Sydney Plant Guy is a good example of that, where I think he was saying he's growing it on a moss pole and he's actually seeing the roots go into the pole and then grow up the pole. And I've noticed that all the aerial roots that sort of came off the middle of it once I potted it up in here after getting it from Bunnings started peeking over the top. So you can see there's probably one here, and then another one here, another one here. There was one that was here that rotted away, and then there's another one here. So they kind of all grew up and then peaked over the edge, and they obviously dry out, they desiccate a little bit, and that stops them from growing from that point onwards. But yeah, absolutely huge fan of this plant. I think they're absolutely stunning. I really want it to just get bigger and bigger and bigger. At the moment, it's sitting under a nice grow light on one of the shelves that I've got here, and so the leaves are sort of more horizontal like this, instead of like, you often see them kind of flapping downwards, and I think it's because people have them when they get larger outside, or they'll have them up against a window where the light's coming in from the side and kind of hitting the plant as it gets bigger. So yeah, anyway, you guys will have to let me know. Are you big fans of the Philodendron Bilitis or Bilitis as well? I'm in love. I absolutely love this girl. And I'll tell you what, guys, I would sell my right testicle to have a variegated one of these. But yeah, the prices in Australia are currently between like $3,000 and $5,000 for a plant that has like 3 leaves. So yeah, that's definitely where I draw the line. But I'm looking forward to when they become more popular here. And there was a video online, if you look up Gardening Australia, there was a video where, I think it was about 3 weeks ago, a guy in Perth from Flora Magnifica, a business there, free shout out to them. They sell rare plants. He had one in his lounge room, and it was like massive. And I think he was saying there's less than 100 of these plants in Australia, and the one that he had, he bought for like $5,000 when he first got it, grew it out for a few years, and now it's probably worth about $20,000, you know, so just insane. I'll try and put a photo up if I can find one, a screenshot of that, but it was just ridiculous. Anyway, guys, that's it for me today. You'll have to let me know which of these plants, if any of them, are your favorites, and if you have other favorites in your collection this month. Thank you so much for enjoying the videos, for giving them a like, for commenting, everything like that. I really, really love the community that is building around my little channel at the moment, so I really appreciate it. Cheers! YouTube reckons you're going to enjoy this video, so go check it out, and I will see you there. Peace!